I stopped being lazy, yeah, and I became creative, and I learned how to create it, and now that pride's for me. So come see, oh come here.
Welcome back to the Silver Lining Podcast. I am your host, the Sterlinator. This is your co-host, the Great Cambino, and we're back at it again. We got to talk about the Falcons today. I say got to, the season's over. I know y'all feel like, oh my God, thank God, finally I get my Sundays back. I don't gotta be suffering, but unfortunately, we made the decision to be Falcons podcast host, so we got to keep talking about them. But we love them though. We love them. We love them. So yeah, today we're coming at you with just a review episode, a review of the season. We'll go over certain games and stuff like that, but that's what the reactions are for. That's what the previews are. We go over all that. We just want to look at a lot of stuff that led up to this point, to the finish that we had, which would include your coaching, your players, your off season, all that good stuff. Right. Now, I hadn't had the chance to look at it. I know I should have, but I hadn't done it yet. But thankfully, I know my man Cam. He did a little research for us. He did a little watching. We saw that Raheem and Terry had some press conferences today.
They did.
Regarding the off season. Cam, can you enlighten me for those who hadn't heard, and review for people who have?
Well, I listened to it, and I can see why it left a sour taste in some of the fans' mouths. He brought up the fact that, hey, we are cool with bringing Kirk back as a backup. He'd be an expensive backup. Now, I know, some fans are upset about this, and I get that, because I would be too. But hey, sometimes you got to read between the lines on this. We paid a lot of money for this guy. You don't think we want to let him go? You don't think we're willing to let him go? We absolutely are. But you can't just say that. You got to make it seem like you're cool with keeping him. That way, you don't get a lot of BS offers from other teams. You want them to pay a premium price, so you can at least get a little bit of return for what you got. I get what Terry's going with that. I understand the motive behind that move. Yeah, it's going to make a lot of people upset, but hey, at the end of the day, the money's guaranteed. He's getting paid either way. So if he's going he's getting paid with or without us. So we might as well get some kind of return. And at this point, Kurt has been a consummate professional. He has done more than enough to help Michael Penix out. So at the very worst, if he is an expensive backup, then so be it. Hey, Kirk has shown that he can throw for 500 yards. Granted, I think he got hurt. He didn't come out and say it, but I think Kirk got hurt. Maybe he hurt his shoulder or his elbow or something. But I think Kirk got hurt. That he was not playing healthy. But even still, though, I think this was employed by Terry to up the asking price for Kirk. Something else Terry he brought up is that something I respect. He said, I have not done a good enough job to produce a quality team. And I respect him taking ownership for that. Because he's made and here's something we'll get into a little bit later. But yeah, he made a couple free agent signings, and some things didn't work out, and
some did though.
Some did. Hey, some may say drafting Penix at 8 may have saved the job. I don't know who said that. Maybe me.
Well, he wouldn't happen to be a great guy, would he? And happen to be a Cambino, would he? All right, man. Look, no, I appreciate that rundown. So, I didn't watch it. I did hear some things from it. Honestly, I did love hearing him take some ownership. The thing that pisses me off more than anything is when the coach or GM operate as if they just got all the time in the world and like they know they're not gonna lose their job if they don't get it together. All right. Now, in the Arthur Blank era, only 2 coaches have survived back-to-back losing seasons. That was Dan Quinn, who got fired midway through his 3rd losing season after that 0-5 start, and Arthur Smith. I think right now, with the condition of this team, Raheem and Terry need to tighten up. And when I say tighten up, not just because we want them to tighten up, not because they want to win games, jobs on the line. I wouldn't be mad if they got rid of Terry this year. I'm trying to stay, I'm trying to stay positive with it. And look, I'll be honest, I want to see some guys with black guys in charge, some teams with black guys in charge do well. They got a black GM, black head coach, and potentially the black quarterback. We'll see how things work out with them. I want to see y'all guys pull it together because that could open up opportunities for a lot of other guys who look like us to do well in the NFL. But at the end of the day, you better believe I'm a Falcon fan first. And Terry done been here 4 years. He on his 2nd coach. No winning records. Terry ain't cutting it. All right. So if Terry got fired this year, I'm not going to bat an eye. I'm not going to drop a tear. But with Raheem, I'm willing to give him another year. Right now, it used to be, well, at least for 2 coaches, it was tradition. I thought we was going to keep a tradition, and then it fell through with Dan Quinn. But we had a little tradition going where a coach we hired in their first few seasons would do well. Let's say for Petrino. I guess Petrino fucked it up too. So I know Jim Mora, he started out with a bang, 11-5 NFC Championship first year, right? And then with Mike Smith, 11-5 in the first year, taking over one of those, taking over a pariah. We was a team with a quarterback controversy then. It was just a different quarterback controversy.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
God, I do not miss the Joey Harrington days, man.
Oh my God, bro.
He was put in a bad position, but damn, was it bad football to watch.
Yeah, I wasn't a Joey Harrington fan. I mean, look, maybe it was because I didn't know football as well back then, but even when he was with Detroit, I was like, I just used to watch him, and you got to understand my age. I'm not old enough to actually be evaluating this shit, but even then, I just would look at Harrington and say, I don't like this dude. This dude sucks. He's got to be like the worst guy. This is the worst I've ever seen somebody play this position. That's how I used to feel about Joey Harrington. And then when I found out the Falcons signed him, I was like, and then we signed Byron Leftwich, and I used to watch the Jags a little bit. That was like my favorite AFC team at the time. And I used to watch Byron Leftwich and just be wondering why they're not putting David Garrard in. And eventually they moved on from Byron Leftwich and just handed the job to David Garrard. And I was like, yo, we got the shitty Jags quarterback. Why we get this one? So I was like, oh, man. And, you got to understand what that's like going from Michael Vick to going to those guys. That was a hell of a time. Sorry, you got me distracted. You sent me down memory lane, boy. My nightmare lane, except I didn't wake up.
Yeah.
Real life.
That ain't a good memory lane to be down, man.
Boy. But anyhow, yeah.
It's a PTSD.
So with but yeah. So we got 2 coaches to survive. Survive, more than 2 losing seasons in a row. I don't think Raheem got that. All right. Now, like you said, Penix might save some jobs. Maybe Penix could help steal a couple of games and put this team over 500, and that'll keep Terry and Raheem in place. But I don't know if I saw enough. So we know this is a review, so we're gonna go over how things looked and decisions made, good and bad. We go over good and bad and let them be judged accordingly. Right?
Oh, absolutely.
Now, one of the things that we got to point out that I guess it was a little bit smarter than we thought. When he played Michael Penix Jr. for like a few drives in the Miami preseason game, and then didn't play him for the rest of the preseason, I see like a stupid idea. This guy's a rookie. What do you mean you're not gonna play the rookie that might have to come in if the starter gets hurt? The rookie, the guy who's never done this before. Like, all right, fine. You don't play Joe Flacco because he's 38-year-old NFL veteran, been doing this shit for he the same age as one of his teammates' mom. All right. So
Yeah.
like, yeah, okay, for that guy, you don't play him for the preseason. Hell, you don't need Joe Flacco getting rolled up on. He might get hurt. I'm like, boy, this boy 24 ain't never thrown a pass in the NFL. You gonna play him that little bit and then don't play him. But hey, Penix came out and he looked like he didn't need those reps.
Hmm.
Especially because in those games he wouldn't be playing with the starters. He would have been playing those games with backups anyway.
Hey, and hindsight is 2020 because based off the way he played in the 3 games he started this year, I'm thinking the coaching staff saw enough in that game and that practice.
Yeah.
I'm thinking they saw, and also you got to understand Kirk coming back from an Achilles. At this point, I don't. He said he was fully healthy, but hey, it really takes 2 years to be 100% yourself to really trust it as well.
Yeah,
Kirk
occasionally some guys can, but
mentally, Kirk was there, but physically, I don't think he was there quite yet. And Penix absolutely is, and I'm thinking that was showing in practice. And they didn't want the questions of, "Ooh, is Penix should Penix be the starter? He's looking good in preseason. What if he played a couple more games and looked fantastic? Maybe we got a QB controversy before week 1." And they didn't want that. At least that's my take on it. My take is just, yeah, he was looking real good.
no, they were definitely protecting Kirk.
Oh, absolutely.
And see the thing about Kirk for me too, and I don't want to linger on it too much because we gonna go over the players too as well. But the thing about Kirk and why I had concern about him potentially being washed is that at some point through all this whole process, he was hurt for over a year. And like you said, now sometimes it takes 2 years. The funny thing about Achilles is you just know two people are alike, right? I'm about to bring up one of the most like obscure Achilles injuries ever. And the reason it's obscure is because the person that happened to them in the off season, doing some shit that the NFL would not approve of him doing. And not only did he rehab himself back, he played, I think he played almost all the games and was effective. Terrell Suggs. He sizzled. You remember that shit?
Yeah.
He Terrell Suggs in the offseason. He for those who don't know Terrell Suggs, I don't know how old everybody is listening, but Terrell Suggs was a defensive end / outside linebacker for the Baltimore Ravens. I believe for his whole career. I don't think he ever played anywhere else at the end. But he was with the Ravens. And then he was a dog. T Sizzle was a dog. Like him, he was up there as far as being a dog. He was up there with Ray Lewis.
Oh,
Like
absolutely. Absolutely.
personality wise, those guys were a match made in heaven. You know what I'm saying? And he was a crazy player because he was a guy who he broke like the record for most sacks in college in the season, but like he ran like a 4.9. But then he came to the NFL. Turns out you're 40 times overrated. But anyway, I say all that to say that motherfucker tore his Achilles in the offseason hooping. Boy, imagine Michael Penix Jr. tore his Achilles hooping instead of throwing the pass. Oh, if Drake London tore his Achilles, like just imagine, because that's the level of player Terrell Suggs is. He is an important, very good player, and he tears his Achilles, playing basketball, and he said, "Don't worry about it, I'll be fine." And he rehabs his way back to be ready early season. So this is off season now. It's not like Kirk who hurt himself, midway through the season. After 8 games in the 9th game, or maybe it was the 8th game. This was in the off season. It's already the off season, and yeah, and he rehabbed himself and he got his ass back out there, and he still played very well. And so when you see situations like that happen, one, you have to acknowledge everybody's different. But two, it kind of make you wonder about Kirk because it's like Kirk's 36. You know, he had a torn Achilles. You know, if you compare it directly to Terrell Suggs, you see that he had more time.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, you know, it never looked and it never looked right. And look, his situation is different in the sense that he's a quarterback. He plays a different position, right? Like he don't get to come off the ball and fight the ball. Like he got to make decisions, make quick throws. But also he in a new offense, regardless of the fact that it's a similar offense that he ran with Kevin O'Connell. He is still in a new system in a new city, fucked up Achilles. So, you know, maybe that contributed to it. But then you look at those situations. I'm rambling a little bit too. We're supposed to be talking about this for the player section, but I guess we'll reorganize it as we go. But with the other thing too that makes it hard to forgive the bad parts about Kirk's play was that he had games that he played really well in. So it's like, man, we saw you peak. You looked good, even if he didn't look, you know, the best physically. He looked good, and then, you know, we had that bad stretch where, you know, it was time to move on, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, like you said though, protecting Kirk, I definitely think they wanted to protect Kirk, because they knew that Penix looked ready, right?
We wanted to protect an investment. Kirk, we paid a lot of money for him, and we were expecting, and then we did kind of get it because he did throw for 500 yards. So we were expecting performances of that caliber a little bit at a more frequent pace than what we got. And granted, we had a 6-3 start, but then that losing those 4 straight games, and granted, how we lost those games, I get why fans were mad we didn't start Penix earlier, but you can't. Because let's think about it. Against the Saints, we lost that one was a close one. Essentially, you could put the blame on 2 people, Kirk and Koo.
Yeah.
But Koo's hurt. He ended up going on IR. And then Kirk threw a couple bad plays, the bad interceptions. Just wasn't a good game. Then after that,
I think he only threw the one bad pick that game. He just threw it at a bad time, but then he had that fumble at the end that flung the ball way.
Exactly. And then after that, who put after
Denver.
Denver got our asses kicked.
Yeah.
And granted, that was more of a complete team L.
Exactly.
You can't move on from Kirk after that one. Then after that, who we got? Minnesota.
No, we had that Chargers game. That was the game I started turning.
That was the game why I ain't gonna lie. That's kind of why I gave up. That's the game where you can like he threw 4 interceptions. Kirk single-handedly lost us that game. That game I can kind of see maybe but even then I still don't truly believe it because then we got Minnesota next. We had to go to Minnesota, and that's not a good test. And Kirk,
that's just not the game you want to start your rookie against, right? On the road against a team that got an aggressive defense with an aggressive play caller. You want to
start Michael Penix on against Minnesota? No. And then after that, guess what we got? We got the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, to me, this is exactly how it played out and exactly how I would have done as well. It's the prove to me why I shouldn't bench you game.
Yeah.
And Kirk couldn't do that. He almost lost us that game because could you imagine if we'd have lost to the Desmond Raiders?
Oh, boy, Atlanta be on fire right now.
Oh, my God. Just like, I was going to say, never mind.
This be the second time Atlanta get burned down.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
A repeat of Sherman's March to the Sea.
Oh, man.
Bro, look. All right. So I think we in agreement, right? That was a good call by Raheem as far as when he started Penix.
Oh,
maybe you could have started him earlier into the Raiders game, but as far as how it affected wins and losses, would you say that was a thing that Raheem did right?
Yes. And I'm not. We'll get into Raheem as well. I know we.
Oh no. We're talking about Raheem right now. All of us. This is us going over things that Raheem did. So the playing Penix, I'm like, all right, I give you the credit where you do. That seemed to be right. When to start Penix, you know, just thinking about where the team was and when you decided to do it, more or less, you know what I'm saying? I would have put him in after that Kirk pick to give him some burn. But that aside, I think that was around the time when I would have done so myself had I been in that position. I think we agree on that, right?
Oh, for sure.
Now, what about this goddamn clock management? Do we call that a one game thing, or do we feel like he's had issues with that throughout the year?
No, actually, well, I'm glad you mentioned that because I'm going to talk about clock management. I'm also going to talk about it's kind of going to lead into us going forward on certain downs and him kind of shining
Yeah.
light on as well.
Oh, I know exactly what you're thinking.
So clock management wise, the reason why I wanted a coach, and you mentioned as well, the reason why I wanted a coach who had past experience is to mitigate mitigate problems like that,
Hmm.
where you need to call a timeout and you choose to not do so, and it wastes like 20 seconds. That stuff rookie play callers make or rookie head coaches make. People who lack experience make those mistakes. In that Washington game, in a must-win game, he didn't do that. And he didn't do and he what really irked me about that is that he didn't do it in both halves. He ended both halves like that. Now, I saw him improve on that in the following week against Carolina, last game of the season. But at that point, it damn near was too late. Tampa
But
had already won, and I mean we lost. So Falcons
I'm
fans,
glad you brought up Tampa because that's what I wanted to bring up. I mean, those. So as a Falcon fan, let's be honest. We've been Falcons fans for a long time now. Um, you get used to bad shit happening so much, you only notice the bad shit, especially when it happens later in the year. Because I've started thinking to myself, I said, all right, how many times was Raheem put into a clock management situation and the team executed, including himself, so the players and the coaches executed the way they needed to execute to make it work at the end, right? And
that's what I said.
one of the ones
Because of
that
Terry.
was masterful, and I, honest to God, cannot wait until we get this milk and wine thing going. That's gonna take some time, though. We got to basically review every episode up to the end of the season. But I honestly, we had two parts earlier in the year, maybe three. Well, honestly, we handle in the game situations extremely well. It is so crazy how far we fell off in that Washington game because against the Eagles
Oh,
in
I was
week
gonna bring
two,
that up. Ooh,
masterful how we handled that.
perfection.
Against Tampa at home, you remember that? You remember us having 12 seconds and we had to complete a pass and hurry up and get the line, all that shit and all of that.
And then Koo hit that kick. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Masterful end of game management. It's
Yes.
another one I'm missing.
Um,
Oh, well, the Saints one, but that one that didn't really call for much work for the coach. We got that pass interference penalty that kind of, and we had timeout, so that kind of took a lot of the management part out of it. It's another one I'm thinking of. Oh my God, I had it and I lost it. So who do we play? We played Pittsburgh, Philly. Was it the Saints now? No, we started out one, two, the Chiefs.
the
So
Chiefs.
we didn't execute as players. The players didn't execute at the end of that game. But the way Raheem coached as far as how to manage that in the game situation, because we went for it on fourth down, we didn't get it. We got to stop and we got the ball back and then march down the field. And honestly, that was a game that we could have and probably should have won. And then they also, remember the Kyle Pitts, they didn't call the pass interference on Kyle Pitts where he got pushed out the back of the end zone, basically.
Yep, I remember that.
Um, but those were situations with as far as when to use timeouts, you know what I'm saying? What, having the team prepared. They got to the goal line. The referees didn't call that pass interference, which kind of deaded that drive because that would have put the ball on the one with 4 downs to go. So that pass interference called deaded that drive, and then we got to stop, and then we properly used our timeouts and managed the clock at the end, but then we didn't get that fourth down with what may have been a shaky play call. I wasn't a fan of the play call because we barely got the touchdown on that same play call earlier in the game, and then basically we showed them that same look, ran that same play, and they was ready for it this time. And so we lost that. But I felt like that was a good coaching job by Raheem when we talk about end of game situations. You know what I'm saying? I felt like Washington, when I think about it, even with the Chargers, we handled that end of game situation fine. We just didn't execute. So I bring that up the clock management thing because obviously after the Washington game, that's a hot button topic for all of us as Falcons fans, and so we just want to make sure we're telling that story and telling it truthfully.
Oh yeah,
right? Because like look, yo man, because see that's the other thing too when you think about that Washington game. Why the fuck was D'Angelo Malone even in position to make that play? You know what I'm saying? To fuck up that excuse me, I'm sorry, I didn't even give context. To make the play, that was the 3rd and 30 that D'Angelo Malone got hit with an illegal contact penalty, gave them a first down, and he went on to score a touchdown on that drive. So decisions about who to put in is one thing, but that's personnel decisions are a different topic. We're just talking about clock management right now. I don't know if I think Raheem was bad as a clock manager. I just think he might have handled that one situation bad. I think it was because of the situation, what was all on the line when it happened, the gravity of that situation. It makes it feel like it happened more than it did. Not that it happened worse, because it was an egregious situation, like you pointed out, 2 times at the end of both halves, and it virtually cost you the playoffs.
And something else I noticed as well is just as a team, as a whole, we regressed as the season went along in certain aspects of the game. In the sense that in a moment when we really needed it, Raheem was making mistakes. Something I noticed as a team as well, initially when the season began, Raheem had a lot of willingness to go for it on 4th down.
Mm-hmm.
As a team, as the season progressed, I saw him slowly start pulling away from that. Now, I didn't know if that was because of Kirk's play and him not trusting the product we have on the field and not trusting the trigger man, or because he's losing his nerve a little bit. But I did notice that trend as the season progressed. We were not going for it as much on 4th down. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying we got to go for it every time, but when it's in an advantageous situation, or if you're like in no man's land, then like, yeah, hey, I'm 4th and 2, 4th and 3. We got Bijan. Kirk has been playing pretty good up until this point. Like, hey, yeah, let's try it. But then Kirk started playing worse and worse as the weeks progressed. And then I really think he just lost trust in him. And then when he lost all trust, he like, I got to go to the kid now. I have no choice. So as a whole, I agree with what you said. Raheem deserves another year. He absolutely does. And that's funny saying that considering, hey, Belichick's buyout is only $10 million. That's chump change in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I had a bet on it, I put money that Belichick is in.
I'm glad you brought that up because that was actually I skipped that on my list, but we were supposed to. I was just gonna move it to the end.
Yeah.
But would you have rather had Belichick this year?
See, the thing about Belichick that.
And look now, just for everybody listening, just so you know how the hiring process goes, because I know right now a bunch of people heard that shit. They said, "Fuck yeah," but they skipped in their head the part that if we hire Belichick, then how all of this offseason plays out is different. You don't just get to slot Belichick in with the current team unless you hire him after the season. But when you slot him in before, how we drafted, how we spent money, all of that's going to be different.
Do we sign Kirk? Do we
You know what I'm saying?
Do we draft Penix? Because I don't even know if Michael Penix was high on Bill Belichick's board. Would that have meant we tear the whole team down completely? Because unlike some teams who need a complete rebuild, we have talent. We don't need a complete rebuild. But I know that's what kind of what the talk Bill was giving, and I'm thinking that's the reason why we went with Raheem instead of him. As far as front office wise, if you wanted to tear it down, I get it. But as far as the team wise, we got too much talent to tear this team down completely. We got pieces. This is an attractive destination as far as like an NFL roster goes.
Yeah.
So from that aspect,
Um,
who knows? But like, hey, if Bill said, hey, and I guess it depends on who his coordinators are, and that's another segment I want to get into about Raheem and the coordinators. But you asked me a question about what I've wanted Bill. Well,
would you
what I
prefer
said, what I said,
Belichick over what we had this year?
no.
Yeah,
I'm
so
gonna
for
put
me,
you
the
on.
hard part, let me tell you what starts to, I think I'm leaning no. And everybody who knows me knows I'm a Belichick truther. Like, I'm like, yo, Belichick the fucking man. But something about how Brady's last year went, and then the rest of Belichick's tenure with New England left a real bitter taste in my mouth. Because everybody knows there was always a debate with Belichick and Brady about, who was, more responsible for them Super Bowls. It's a very stupid debate. You show me a good coach, I'll show you a good quarterback. Now, I can show you good quarterbacks without good coaches. And if I show you the good quarterbacks without the good coaches, they ain't looking so good. So clearly, the two go hand in hand, right? But that said, Tom Brady, I feel like transcended the normal quarterback coach relationship because he helped install the culture. Bill Belichick's a hard coach, and you need a quarterback that's ready to put his ego all the way aside to be coached that hard by a guy, right? Get called out like that in front of the team and stuff. And Brady was always a good sport about it. I think Belichick talked about that. He done finally loosened up now that he's not in New England, so he talked about it, and he talked about how you can't have the culture without Brady. He might have ripped Brady real good in the meeting one time, and he go outside the meeting and he pulled Brady to the side and say, "Hey man, I know I kind of ripped you kind of hard. My bad. I didn't mean to do nothing like that." He's like, "Hey, don't apologize, coach." He was like, "Hey, that's what's gonna build the culture. They need to see that I'm willing to take it too." You know what I'm saying? And so when your leader's willing to take it, they help everybody else get in line. That's just how they do it here. You know what I'm saying? Like Brady ain't got to take shit from nobody if he don't want it. Brady wanted to go to goddamn Cleveland, and he said fire the goddamn the coach, the GM, all that, and all coming down. Boy, them boys would have had their pink slip before the goddamn phone hung up. All right,
Facts.
you know what I'm saying? So, um, you got to have a quarterback that's going to install the culture. You got to have a quarterback that's a baller. Like a lot of these quarterbacks, they willing to get in line. They willing to be good culture fits. We love Taylor Connicky for that reason. He's a great culture guy. He's a great locker room guy. They love Taylor everywhere he been, but he's just not that guy. You know what I'm saying? He's just not the player that Brady is. But also, Brady took a lot of pay cuts to help you build a team. The hard part about building that team is when your quarterback start making so much money that now he needs to be able to pick up the slack for other players on the team. It's kind of the reason why the 49ers having a hard time deciding, whether or not they're going to play Purdy or not. Do they love Purdy? Absolutely. While he's making what he currently makes. But when now you upped his salary to $60 million a year. Well, now I'll see what kind of team you're going to put around him now. Let's see.
Yeah,
Let's see.
like it's one thing to love Purdy, but do you love him? Do you love a $6 million Purdy?
There you go.
It's like, hey, Purdy ain't taking no pay cut. But at the
Hey.
same time, as an organization, they probably have a number in their head. They're like, hey, you're more of a 45 mil kind of guy.
If we gave Kirk a contract that had an average annual value of $30 million a year, I don't think anybody would be as upset about the play you're getting out of Kirk now. Like, you'd be mad, but you see what he's making and you be like, whatever. Like, tell me this. Doesn't most people disappointment with Kirk, doesn't it start with we paying this guy $100 million?
Hey, and
Average annual value of $45 million a year?
and you know what? I know people are upset about that move. I get it. I truly do. But you gotta think we did not know what we were gonna get. we did not know that the QB we had in mind, Michael Penix Jr., was going to fall to number 8. And to give Terry some credit, look.
Oh no! You ain't got to talk about it yet. We'll get on that.
Oh yeah, fair
Let
enough.
me wrap this part up, and then we'll get on that. No.
Oh no,
Terry. Oh yeah. It's like, just so y'all know, we ain't letting Terry off the hook. We was saving the best for last.
Yeah. Oh, why we still got Raheem on board? Let me talk about the biggest thing about this whole thing that really kind of pissed me off. I like Raheem as the hire, but when you're coming into an organization, you need a little bit of experience. And when you bring in 2 rookie play callers in Zach Robinson and Jimmy Lake, I got a problem. Because now it's Raheem, it's your second time around, but it's damn near everybody's first time around, man. It damn near is. Zach Robinson's first time calling plays, albeit he has made great strides, and I'm 100% cool with keeping Zach for next year. And he's got the QB he can really grow with.
Yo, man, he need to pick up this shit on the play action, though, bro. I'm kind of getting tired of that shit. Like, come on, 100%, man.
And I'm hoping in this offseason he can see, like, oh, this is where I fucked up at, and this is where I can improve, and this is how I get the most out of my guy. And I'm hoping that's what he does in the offseason. First year, I'm going to cut him some slack. Jimmy's got to fucking go. If you want me to have more faith in you, that's the real thing. That's the real uneasy feeling I have. We got a great fucking roster. My uneasy feeling is I don't trust upper management. I don't trust McKay. And granted, he's kind of got like a little bit of demotion, but he's still in the fucking building. So his voice is still there. I don't trust him. Arthur Blank is too trusting of certain people, and he needs to be a little bit more cutthroat. Granted, Arthur Blank is a great billionaire and does great things for the community. Does great things for Atlanta. I love him for that, but I need him to be a little bit more of a ruthless.
I need him to be great for the Falcons too.
I need him to be a little bit more of a ruthless owner. That's what I need. I made that little tangent, but yes, man, how you gonna bring in another rookie play call and gonna Raheem is a defensive-minded head coach. Why has our defense been so bad all year long, man? All year long. And granted,
at some point, you should have been able to grab the cords and take control of the thing, right?
Like, granted, we had a little bit of a bump after the bye week.
A little bit,
but then we completely fell back to earth. Like, man, Jimmy's got to go. I don't know what we're going to do for DC or defense, but we got to figure that side of the ball out.
See, the part that gets me nervous about that, though, is I try to think to myself. I try to think hard, and look, I don't have every single assistant just off the top of my head. So if anybody, knows of a team that was able to do so, I would love to be wrong. But I feel like most defensive coaches take like 1.5 to 2 years to get they've scheme fully implemented. Well, not 1.5 years, maybe a year to 1.5 years to get their scheme fully implemented and everybody playing at a high level, right? And I guess if we fire like so this is what I do think of. I think about Ryan Nielsen. When he took over, the defense was they was in the bottom third of the league. He took over, he brought in an average, maybe a little bit better some days. They were like one of the best run defenses in the league and one of the best red zone defenses in the league. Love that for us. Did that in the first year. Got his teeth kicked in the last 2 games of the year. Hadn't gotten them teeth replaced since he went to Jacksonville. That man around here looking like a fucking hockey player. That man been getting his.
He on LinkedIn right now.
Well, I almost got we was on posting this on YouTube. I about to get this thing taken down. Sorry. But yeah, no. So I'm like, I don't know if that was real or if that was fool's gold. And I can't think of too many coordinators that took over a defense that was playing as bad as ours and then, went on to do great things. Now, what did happen was that we were playing real soft in the first half. And then once we started playing more physical coverage, throwing off the timing, actually attacking the quarterback with blitzes, then we was able to get there. And I'm like, it took you 11 games to figure that shit out. There wasn't no point in the year where you thought, damn, maybe we should mix this shit up. Like even if you, well, I guess they did do that against Seattle, and to be fair, against Seattle they got cooked. But I'm like, oh, so you gonna go against the team that got a fairly mobile quarterback and got three horses at receiver, and you're gonna try to say, oh, see, it didn't work, and then just stop doing it. You know why you were trying it? Because what you were doing for wasn't working.
Exactly.
Like, don't use that failure as an excuse to go back. You was already failing. Don't blame the method now. Don't blame the method now. You was already doing that with the old method. Like shit. Like don't. I'm sorry. That shit makes me so mad.
Absolutely.
Like, because they tried it, it failed, and then they went back to doing what they were doing, and I'm like, oh, you think that's gonna save you? The doing the thing that was failing before is gonna save you from the failure of trying a new thing. Like, come on, man, get the fuck out of here.
Stop it.
Get out of here. So yeah, man, Jimmy got to get up out of here, man. As far as Zach, bro, we can hang on to him. I was always concerned about Zach a little bit because he has to develop with the team, not develop the team. You know what I'm saying? That's always a scary proposition when he's going to have full control of the offense because your head coach isn't an offensive guy. Like, now, Raheem does have some offensive experience. He has been a wide receiver coach. He has been not an offensive coordinator. What is it called? Passing game coordinator? I think he's been a passing game coordinator before, too. I might be making that up, though. But he has experience on the offensive side of the ball. But I don't think he can be a play caller. So I'm like, this guy not under – a coach that can be like, all right, let me help you out. Let me take over these parts of the duties or whatever, and then give them back to him when you start seeming like you got it under. He just he's shitting the bed. Well, he just gonna keep shitting it until he get himself up and clean himself off, and change his own sheets. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you can't help that man. So I think that's where you right on with hiring two rookie play callers. I think that might have been a mistake. I think you can hang on to Zach because Zach has shown strides of growth. We need to see more play action. We need to see more. And let me tell you what else was the biggest piece of growth for me. Even though none of these plays worked, I've always been one to say that no matter how good Bijan has been, he will never be fully unlocked until we start to use him as a down-the-field receiver. I don't think people understand how much this guy could kick a linebacker's ass in coverage, or how much he could kick a safety's ass in coverage. Like, seriously, he can dust these dudes. He can get wide-open plays. Or even if he's not wide open, he can be in a position of clearly beating his guy, And we saw an attempt in Washington. Penix missed the throw, but Bijan was wide open. Then we saw the one against Carolina where Bijan was going down the sideline. We did not. Bijan, he ran his route a little too close to the sideline, so he got rolled out of bounds. But, that's just like small adjustments that you can make on either of those situations, and we're using Bijan down the field. That's one thing I need to see that we starting to see. So I need to see more play action. I want to see more Bijan down the field. We're starting to see that. I want to see more Kyle Pitts down the field. I know a lot of people, not sold on Kyle Pitts. We'll get on that. But my whole thing is that's where Kyle Pitts is and has always been best, right? I know people want Kyle Pitts to be George Kittle, Travis Kelce to be all these people, especially with his draft pedigree. And some people get this idea that Pitts be loafing on his routes and shit. I don't believe that. But, you done built up this hate about Pitts that every time you make a mistake, it's a bigger mistake than it seems like. Like, if I'm being real, the pick that he caused against the Giants was not as impactful as the one Ray McCloud had against the Panthers. You know what I'm saying? His was just worse because you thought, all right, we marching in, we about to get a touchdown. He finally threw the Pitts. God damn that Pitts! We could have heard a touchdown and now it's a pick because of Pitts. And you damn right. That's exactly what happened. So I can't even get mad at you there. But I am saying that those are plays that just happen. But the thing I didn't see was us using Pitts in the way that he was used best, i.e. how he was used his rookie year. Pitts didn't get all them yards because he was a dude who was constantly winning over the middle and doing tight end things. We didn't have an explosive receiver, so we was using Pitts to get downfield, and that's when he was kicking ass. When he used as a downfield deep threat, and then that just stopped happening ever. And then when he came here, we had a couple of plays like that, and then we just stopped doing that. And I'm like, come on, Zach. I want to see it. I want to see it. All right. So I think it's time to go ahead and move on. Now we on to the players. So we're gonna be quick about this. Y'all, the best part about the player section is y'all know the players. We know who we saw. All right. So the quarterback position, Kirk and Penix. If we reviewing that, Kirk, this the season at quarterback. This the season at quarterback. Oh, that's the season at quarterback. Kirk started out shaky. Kirk looking good.
Swag, sir.
Kirk shit the bed. Yeah, Kirk shit the bed. And the season and the position shit in the bed. Penix, we might got our guy for the future. That's the whole thing. What about you, Dak?
I could not wrap it up any better myself, man. As far as quarterback position, man. Hey, while we on the offense, I'm going to take every flower I have.
Oh, great segue. Go ahead.
And give them to Bijan Robinson. Because as a podcast, we do not spend enough time talking about him.
I agree.
Sorry.
Apologies.
And that's because the quarterback position is the most important position, and that's the one that was shit in the bed. So, hey, that position had a little bit more precedent. But as a team, Bijan Robinson is the best player on the Atlanta Falcons.
Yep.
He is the best player on our team. He had over 1,800 yards from scrimmage. He might have, I couldn't name the stat off the top of my head, but the amount of guys he makes miss, he stands out when you watch football. Even if you've never seen the game before, you see Bijan Robinson because he's going to consistently make a guy miss. And not only that, I've seen clips throughout the game. Bijan is great in pass protection. Fantastic. I've seen him tattoo some linebackers.
Boy,
hit him right in the lip.
Hey,
boy.
Checking that chin, yeah.
Checking that chin, boy. Bijan is great in pass protection, and we have not truly unlocked the pass game with him. Granted, we use him as a check down back a lot of times, but Bijan has incredible hands, and he can expose anybody. Once we unlock, and you mentioned before, once we unlock that downfield threat of Bijan, oh my God, we gonna cook. So yeah, I'm giving all my flowers to Bijan. Darnell Mooney had a great.
Let me jump in on that.
I just start naming players off.
No. You got the right idea. Like that's exactly how we're going. With the players, I don't think we gotta go too crazy. I'm right with you, bro. Look, we done had this podcast. We up to almost 40 episodes. I do not feel like we have talked about Bijan enough. Bijan has been a godsend. I remember being disappointed that we drafted a running back instead of Jalen Carter.
Same.
I ain't afraid to say it. I was wrong.
Same,
the take, and we ain't have a podcast then, but if we did, that would have been that one aged like milk, and that ain't aged like wine because that boy Bijan. And look, I've been watching football for over 20 years now. Bijan, give me that old school backfield. You know what I'm saying? Not backfield, but old school backfield.
Yeah.
Right? Like he takes me back to guys like LaDainian Tomlinson, like just guys.
Took the words right out of my mouth. He reminds me of LT.
Yeah, bro. Just a back that can do everything at a high level. Like that was one of the things that made LT special. That he could take short plays and plays that could be negative plays and turn them into positive plays. He was all around back. He could catch, he could block, he could run. You know what I'm saying? He could LT in case he could throw. You know what I'm saying?
No, I was thinking, we gotta give Bijan some little trick plays. Give Bijan.
Yeah. and look, Bijan wasn't always a guy who was going to rip up. Like, in fact, actually, amongst running backs, that had like 1,500 yards up, he was like one of the lowest as far as 20-yard runs. He had like 5. But I'm like, that mean that he grinded his way to 1,456 yards on the ground? He didn't like pad his numbers with a bunch of explosive runs.
Nope.
He did it the regular way. Give me the ball. I'm gonna make some guys miss, and I'm gonna get 6 yards. I'm gonna get 7 yards. I'm gonna get 5 yards. I'm gonna get 8 yards. He did it that way. To
The harder way.
150 bucks. Like, I don't think people understand. You don't see backs like that anymore. You don't see that shit no more.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying?
We
And
got
I'm like,
one.
and look, if we get better downfield blocking and just get a chance to get Bijan those explosive runs, if we get Bijan down the field, I think in the next year, maybe 2, but in the next year, we could be looking at the best running back in the NFL on our team.
Dog,
Damn Derrick Henry, damn Saquon Barkley. I know. They are worthy of those titles. They are great running backs. There's a lot of other great running backs. Christian McCaffrey might get healthy next year, and he's going to say, hey, I know y'all forgot about me, but let me reintroduce myself. I know. Bijan got something special. Y'all heard how I talk about Penix like that in the last episode, and I say, no, it's something in how Penix plays, something in his arm that's special, like something you just not going to see all the time. Bijan is absolutely that, except he's starting to bud. I'm telling you, Bijan has not reached his ceiling yet. When we start to see Bijan on the down the field game, when we start to get Bijan on more option routes, y'all gonna see. Now, to the receivers, brother. Go ahead, take us away.
Okay.
I know you're about to jump in about Mooney.
Hey, Darnell Mooney, man. He has reinvigorated his career. He got out the Bears. He got a little taste of a good QB. He got a little taste of Primo Kurt, but then he fell down to earth. And then he also got a little taste of Penix.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't sound right.
I was trying to keep it straight, man.
Oh man! I did not.
Like, yeah, what did got a little taste of, bro?
Oh man! But yeah, dog. I know he didn't play the last game of the year because of he's dealing with a little bit of injury. Man, he had 2 games with him, and he was building that rapport. He had I think Darnell had a pretty good season.
Yeah.
I think he was money well spent.
Yep.
I think it was a very affordable contract, and we're gonna look back on this like, man, we only paid Darnell with 30. What was 30-something mil?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember.
It was 3 year, 38 or something like that. It was something.
Yeah, like it was decent money, but
it's
for the production we got from him.
For the production we got off Darnell, hell yes. When you got guys like Justin Jefferson making that kind of money, like dog, Darnell, he's earned that, and he gets that kind of money because he's that kind of guy. But hey, it's only one ball.
It's only one
That's
ball.
what I'm saying. And hey, Darnell had a great season, and I'm looking forward to seeing how he plays next year.
What about the rest of the receiving group?
Drake had a great season as well, dog. And Drake is my guy. To me, Drake is the clear number 1 on our team. Granted, Darnell does things that Drake cannot do. He's a little bit faster. He's more of a deep threat. But Drake is a possession receiver, and I thoroughly enjoy watching that light-skinned, dark-skinned dude.
Yeah.
Because,
light-skinned guy
he likes
Air Force energy.
Dog, he played with Black Air Force One energy, and
I
love that from Drake, dog. I love that from him.
Hold on. Better time. The one at the end of the Eagles game, or the one at the end of the first half against the Panthers. The stare down.
Boy, beautiful. I love that from my number 1.
Oh my God! Because you know that guy was talking shit to him when he pushed him out of bounds on that play before. And it's rare that you get to have somebody talk shit to you and then the quarterback look your way again right after.
And we're gonna do the same thing again. And this
time, same route, same everything. And
I'm gonna get mine this time, and I'm gonna stare you down in your soul, like, yeah.
Oh yeah.
This how daddy.
Hold on. He gave him one of these.
Yo, man.
Yo, man. So, and I know you got some words you want to say about McLeod too.
I was gonna say Ray. Ray Ray legit made like 2 bad plays this whole year. If we keep it a buck, he caused that fumble against
Minnesota,
Minnesota, and then that interception against Carolina.
Yeah,
Ray
and for the
Ray,
record, in the first game against Carolina, he had a fumble. I thought that was a bullshit call.
I thought so too. But
That was like one of the worst calls I saw this year.
But as a whole, Ray may have found a home because that man had a phenomenal season. And we talked about this a little bit before the pod. You asked me about this, and I was like, in my opinion, Ray is a true number 3. Like, if something happened to Drake or Mooney, I wouldn't promote Ray. I would just bring somebody else in. Ray is our number 3 guy.
Yeah,
he's the third option, and he's the permanent slot guy. I'm cool giving him the ball. I trust him. He's got good hands. Because Ray made some clutch catches this year. Ray got good hands. I'm cool with Ray. I'm liking how our receiving core has developed. I'm loving our running back room. And we didn't even get we didn't finish the running back room yet. We didn't talk about Tyler.
We sure didn't, but we talked about Bijan, and then, but I feel like we didn't give Bijan the love yet. But we do got to talk about Tyler. We'll double back. Matter of fact, tackle on something about Tyler here, and then we'll go straight through.
Yeah. I know we're approaching an hour, so we're gonna try to wrap it up for you. But yeah, Tyler, phenomenal back, great number 2. We kind of got our own little Sonic and Knuckles. Even though I don't know if I would put Algier at the same level as David Montgomery, but we don't give him the ball enough because Bijan is that guy. But man, when he comes into the game, he earns every single carry, like to the point where like, hey, we need to see more Bijan. Well, hey, Tyler earning these carries. He earning these carries. I'm gonna give him the rock. So yeah, man, he had a great year as well too. But I say from here we can kind of switch on over to defense. This one's gonna be a little shorter.
Yeah, let me just wrap it up then. So definitely want to shout out Drake. Like you said, light-skinned guy with that black Air Force energy. Loved him in college. I didn't know if we drafted the right guy to be our number 1 at the time, but I know when I watched the tape, I was like, I love when a big receiver, even if he's not that fast, can still stem off his routes and create separations through route running. He's been able to do that. He's been great with his hands. He's been a physical guy. He's been everything you could ask for out of the player that we drafted, and now he's looking like he might be one of the best receivers out of his class. That's what I needed. That's what we needed from Terry, because Terry be having your butt cheeks clenched up when he drafts.
Boy, hell yeah, man! Like, come on, T.
The double back over, finish up the running back room. Tyler Algier, God bless him, man. I love that guy. That dude, Tyler Algier, hadn't had a legit fumble since he's been in the NFL. Want to go ahead and point that shit out. Also want to point out that like he really makes all of his touches count for something. Like, all right, yeah, like he's a running back. He got some touches where he's gonna lose yards, some touches where he's not gonna get it on a clutch situation, whatever. But for the most part, man, you put Algier in, bro. Them guys just cannot get this man on the ground. Honestly, him and Bijan. Bijan kind of like a mix between LaDainian Thomas and Alvin Kamara a little bit. Where, Kamara, you don't think of him as a physical runner, but you just can't help but notice guys, they just can't get him on the ground. They hit him, they wrap him up, and they slide down him. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with Bijan. Tyler Algier definitely more of a truck, though. I done seen him hit some guys, and them boys needed some smelling salt after that shit, boy. Like, I think he caught Alontae Taylor, number 1 for the Saints. He hit that man. That man was like, boy, somebody get somebody else in this game real quick. Mooney, excellent addition. I thought we overpaid. I wasn't mad. I didn't think we overpaid so much that it was bad, but definitely thought we overpaid. I was wrong. I told you, being wrong is way more fun than being right. I love being wrong.
When it comes to this team,
that was a great move.
Wrong.
All right, that was a great move, and we're not gonna talk too much about that because we were supposed to go talk. We had to go over Terry still, and we already on the hour. This podcast already about to be way longer than we thought it was gonna be, but whatever. Maybe I'll split it up and then have a lead in. We'll see. But Ray McLeod. They said Ike Hilliard, the wide receiver coach for us, who is actually a former Buck. I don't know how many of y'all old enough to remember when he played for them, but I do. He vouched for him. He vouched for the coaching staff. They say, hey, I think we can run this thing with Ray McCloud. We need to do it. And you know what? Love it when the plan comes together, man. Ray McCloud has been more than solid, and he's been explosive, and he's been clutch. And honestly, I'm like, all right, that's one of them times where, well, I guess when we got to talk about Terry and tell the whole truth. Terry give us a lot of ammo to shit on him, but all right, we'll give you something. You got a little bit of that receiver room shit straightened out. As far as the O line. I was satisfied with their play. I want to see more improvement from Bergeron, uh, but only because I think Bergeron can be the guy we need to push this O line to the next level. Right now, I feel like our O line they're a plus run blocking O line, but they're okay in pass protection, but they also are shaky in short yardage situations. It's just in situations where if you had a big physical strong O line, you would feel more confident, like how Carolina bullied us to fuck around in the last game of the year. Go ahead, take it over, Cam. Do you want to talk about O line, or are you ready to get on defense?
I think you said enough about the O line. I can't really add much to that. I had the same sentiment. Let's move on to the defense, big dog.
All right, brother.
This part actually gonna be kind of short, man, and we being honest.
Oh shit! I'm glad it's short for you, man. That wasn't pissing me off. I told you, we might have to split this one up. The defense had me upset.
I thought we were just talking about the good things. I was giving out flowers, so
then go ahead and give out your flowers, brother.
I ain't got a lot of flowers to give out on defense, but I'm gonna give them to some of the guys who deserve it. Jesse deserve your flowers. Granted, he was safety, so you can't impact every play, but for the most part, you did your thing. AJ had a great season, in my opinion. I thought he had a great season. Nothing I can't really say. I mean, he had a couple plays on my A. He got a little bit better, but he played pretty well
against Seattle.
Mainly against Seattle, yeah. He got sunned by DK, but hey, happens to the best. So it's the NFL. Everybody get got. Aside from that, I thought Grady had a pretty good season. You can only do so much without as much protection. The defense definitely came along after the bye week. I thought some of our rookies did a bit better as well. Like I thought Rook started coming along towards the end. Sucks Berlin Trice got hurt. I really want to see him, but hey, he'll be like a new signing come the offseason when we get into that. JD Bertrand, he had some plays. I liked what I saw from him. We can build on that. Caden motherfucking Ellis had a phenomenal season. Yeah, I was totally impressed with what he did. We more than likely will extend him. I hope we do. Yeah, that's kind of how far Caden Ellis, yeah. We got like 3 white boy linebackers. Caden Ellis, Nate Lamb is the other guy. Nate Lamb played pretty well. He had some times where I'm like, hey, you show why you coming. You're not the best coverage back, but when it comes to run defense, you all right. You all right. I can fuck with. I'm cool with you being on the team. But I feel like we need like a little bit more improvement in linebacker core. Troy, I like Troy. I really do. He just can't stay healthy.
Bro, yeah. And, I can't have faith that Troy's going to get. Sorry to jump in. I can't have faith that Troy's going to get better if he can't stay on the field. Like that's where all of my hope about his potential ever came in, that he was going to get on the field and learn the game. But he keep getting hurt so much that I'm like, man, this man is starting from scratch every time he get out there.
Yeah.
And now, I'm sure you want to shout out Ebiketie too, right?
Yeah, Ebiketie. Thank you. Ebiketie. I'm loving how he's coming into form. He had a great second half of the season. I'm glad he got more tick. And the fact that he wasn't playing early enough in the season shows me that I don't really trust who we got on defense. I don't really trust some of the defense evaluations. Mm-hmm. I don't really trust – I said it before. I don't trust Jimmy. Raheem is a defensive-minded coach. He was a DC. So I know he can get it together. I don't know if he was the reason why the defense got better over the bye week, but I just don't trust the defense, man. I don't trust it. I didn't trust the scheme. We were running a lot of zone. Got destroyed over. We started switching to man. It's cool. We finally could start getting some pressure on on the opposition. Missed tackling. We were terrible as a team in missed tackling, and we didn't start off like that. It just got progressively worse as a
It
unit.
got comical.
Like exactly comical, dude. To the point I'm just like, man,
Ooh, out there looking like the 11 Stooges.
as a defense, we need to make some improvements. Now, I can at least attest that Terry threw draft picks at the problem this past draft. He tried to address it. We drafted a linebacker, drafted some like guys in the trenches, and I'm thinking in the future over this next coming year, I'm thinking some of this is going to come to fruition where some of these guys are going to take the next step and be the guys that we think they're going to be. I'm optimistic for that. But as far as like how team and scheme, I think we looked a little bit undisciplined on defense. I think Jimmy got to go. Raheem got to really take a deep look at this defense, and whoever he brings in as his DC has to be that guy. Because I don't want Raheem as a DC. I need him just as the head coach. Because if he's a DC, he's gonna be overwhelmed and he's gonna start making mistakes as the head coach shouldn't be making, like time management type mistakes and game management type mistakes. I need him strictly focused on the game, and I need whoever's running the defense to have that. So I don't know what's going to happen. Funny enough, Robert Salah interviewed for a DC position with San Fran. I'm sure he'll take it. I wish we would have fired Jimmy and brought his ass in. I'd love Salah as our DC, but that's neither here nor there. We might not get him. So that's kind of all I got to say for defense, and then I'll let you have it, and then I guess we can save Terry for last.
Yeah, boy. Oh boy, it's gonna be the shot on the arm I need. So yeah, look, I'm right with you on defense, man. Like when I look at the defense, on the D line, like we had depth, but I think we just need more studs, man. David Onyemata, I think he on his last legs. I think next year's the last year of his contract. I don't know if he's gonna see that year. Unfortunately, and I don't want to get too much on the offseason preview. Grady played great, but with a $20 million cap hit next year, I don't know if he gonna be that great. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if we saw our last game of Grady Jarrett, but
I hope not. But if we did, I get it.
And yeah, I get it with the cap. But at the same time, I do want to point out that Grady Jarrett, and still the best Falcons D lineman, hands down.
I agree.
So there's that. A name you didn't mention that I can't even blame you for not mentioning it because I'll be forgetting this guy on the team half the time was Matt Judon. I'm like, sometimes I see him out there and I'm like, well, who the fuck is this guy with the red sleeves? Because I forget he on the team because of how little impact he made. Like even when he got sacks, they were mostly cleanup sacks. But at least Ebiketie was getting pressure. Caden Ellis, best linebacker, honestly. I'm so happy because that was another guy I was wrong about. Early in the year, I was kind of like, Caden Ellis, he kind of a jack of all trades, master of none. He's kind of a mid-run defender, everything. But I guess when they started using him, maybe I was going to say mid-coverage guy, but I guess when they started using him the way that he is used best and the way he works best, my man's out there showed the fuck out. Like, seriously, he did the thing, and he was the best linebacker there. If Troy can get healthy, but I think I'm a honest to God, man. I'm just like, bruh, Troy, and then because he's not out there getting the reps when he does get out there, he does not play to the peak of his ability. We got one game of peak Troy, the game against the Saints where he had the pick six and had 17 tackles. I'm like, that's really the kind of guy you could be getting every week if he can stay on the field.
Mm-hmm.
But he can't stay on the field, and he loses game rhythm, and next thing we know, we starting over with him. So I'm on the fence with Troy. I don't really know how to evaluate him this year. AJ Terrell, amazing. He did great this year. I'm glad he was able to get a couple picks this year because my man was not getting any interceptions, any turnovers. I would like to see more, but people not throwing his way, so I can't blame him for that. But what I can blame people for is the reason they're not throwing his way is because there is so much more meat on the bone when you go at D. Alford. Holy shit. Not going to lie, man. I thought D. Alford was going to give us more than they gave us at the slide. You know, I thought he was going to be capable of being a guy on the slot. Boy, I'm going to start calling him Drum Offered. Yeah, he was getting beat like one all the damn season. I mean, my God, man, like that's what the D stand for. He put the D in drum because he was getting beat like anytime. Like it got to the point where teams needed a big play. They said, "Let's go at D Alford." So I think we gotta do something about that next year. I don't think if we want this team to hit the next level based off of last year's performance, we can't bring D Alford back. We might even be able to bring Mike Hughes back. Mike Hughes wasn't perfect, but Mike Hughes wasn't the guy that they just said, that's the guy we got to go at when we need a big play. Right? Jesse Bates, I kind of stopped seeing him as much towards the end of the year, but Jesse Bates, I still feel to this point money well spent. Earning his check.
Agree.
Yeah, right.
Agree.
earning his check. Definitely the best. Probably the best guy in our secondary. So I think that's fair.
Him and
AJ the best, but I feel like maybe Bates is a notch above. I don't know because he forces fumbles too.
Yeah,
Justin Simmons, bro. Yeah,
Justin Simmons.
I didn't get on the team too.
He was gonna be like a little bit on my Terry, the Terry part, but
yeah,
hey man, like granted, you know what? Part of what I gotta say about him is on the Terry part, but
I'm about to say no. If you want to, we can jump straight into Terry right now.
Okay, cool. Well, Justin Simmons, man, hey, he was only a 1-year deal. It was 1 year's worth of money. So I'll say this about Terry as a glass half full. He knows how to get us out of bad deals. He knows how to structure deals to where they're front loaded to where we can always get out. And I do like that.
Yeah.
Now, granted, some of his free agent acquisitions have left more to be said, especially on the offense wise. He kind of know how to do that. Defense wise, I'm like, bro, you need to bring some better dudes. And granted, he did bring in Caden Ellis and David Onyemata, so I can't give him too much slack.
I mean, look, Caden Ellis, David Onyemata, Jesse Bates.
Yeah.
Those
all those deals too, all solid deals. Like they like, so like I can't give him, like, Terry has done enough to keep his job. Because drafting wise, he's like 50-50. But he drafted Penix, even though we gave Kirk all that money. And that's what we in hindsight 2020, we needed that. And I know people get upset about this, and we've said it, and we're gonna keep on saying it. You'll get tired of us saying it. I am not I am pro throwing all the resources we have at the QB position, because the worst place you can be as a franchise is in what?
QB purgatory, sir.
Say it again.
QB purgatory is the worst place to be as a franchise.
Thank you. So, yeah, we threw money at Kirk. We didn't know Penix was going to fall to us, and he did. So be thankful you got your guy, because that's the only silver lining for this season, really.
Yo, and look, one quick thing I want to toss in to piggyback off of your point is when you want to draft a quarterback, I feel like you can only go in with the plan that we're going to draft a quarterback if you have like a top 3 pick and there's 3 quarterbacks you like.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
If like the Bears did do that actually. The Bears, they went and got Keenan Allen. They went and got who was the other? They had DJ Moore already, but then they drafted Roman. Like they did and made every move with the thought process. We are going to draft a quarterback because they had the number 1 overall pick. They knew they were going to be able to pick whoever they want.
Mm-hmm.
Same with the Commanders. They had the luxury of knowing that they were either going to get, this quarterback or that quarterback, and that quarterback ended up being Jaden Daniels. With the Patriots, they knew they were taking a quarterback. They like, hey, whichever one of these 3 left over, we fine with. So they all got to operate with the knowledge that they were going to be able to do that. But if you're the Falcons and you spending money like that, and you say we're gonna draft a quarterback. I'm like, you gonna draft a quarterback at 8? Like that's how you about to operate going into the draft at 8? Like like seriously, now it didn't work out this way, but you gotta think about how teams move if they know you're gonna draft a quarterback. Ours was a surprise, but like, if the Raiders knew we were gonna draft a quarterback, they would have damn sure tried to jump ahead of us.
Because look how their season turned out. Because they got no quarterback. Because guess what? They're in what?
Quarterback purgatory.
Yes.
But yeah, I said all that to say that like because I know people's gonna beat that death. I hated the take at the time. I think that's why we kind of keep harping on that shit, because fans keep regurgitating it, talking heads keep regurgitating it, and I'm just like, do y'all not watch the draft? Every fucking year, somebody out here is complaining about who picked who. Every year, somebody gets surprised by who get picked at some place they didn't think they was gonna get picked. Every year. And that means that we would have been risking the biscuit on the draft, where we already got a strong history of some team being a team to pick somebody that you didn't expect. And and then they're gonna tell you that when it worked out. I'm like, well, what if it fucking didn't work out? What if we would have picked Kirk and the quarterback stunk?
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna make you feel just as bad about that as they do about picking Penix. And Penix looked like he might work out.
Mm-hmm.
And Kirk looked like he might not. So like, I'm like, what are you? It worked out. Literally, the only part about it is that if you say, all right, maybe you should have gone with a bridge. But I'm like, look, they said they had Penix number 2 on their board. I mean, they had Penix ahead of Jaden Daniels. They had him ahead of Drake May. They had him ahead of J.J. McCarthy. They had him ahead of Bo Nix. The only one they had ahead of him was Caleb Williams, right? And then you fuck around, the 8th pick, pull up, and you like, oh shit, we didn't think the guy that we had as our 2nd-rated quarterback, especially with the first 3 teams we knew was taking a quarterback. We didn't think our 2nd-rated option was going to be available. So that's just what happened. Sorry to interject, but that's just one of them things that I think it's disingenuous to the process to say, oh, you should have did this, you should have did that. When I'm like, boy, if y'all keep telling me all these shouldas, can you tell me what the fucking lottery number is gonna be tomorrow? Because you can tell me about how the shit gonna play out. You're gonna tell me about how how they should have known that Michael Penix Jr. was gonna be available today. Well, then tell me how I'm about to win a fucking $1 million next week.
Please do, because I do not want to go to work tomorrow.
Like, come on, man. Anyway, yeah, back to Terry, man. We talking about Terry. Now I'm a little different about you. I don't know if he's done enough necessarily to keep his job. Like, I'm not up in arms that he coming back again, because if you look at the positives and the negatives, right? The positives, great with his early round picks. The Pitts one is shaky, especially when you look at some of the other people who went after Pitts. I feel like Arthur Smith had just as much to do with that, so you can't dump all of that on Terry. I feel like Terry might have chosen a receiver over a tight end or whatever, but whatever. Especially given what that receiver room was. Like, the reason why Pitts was a deep threat on that team was because of the lack of receivers we had. So I'm like, yeah, that was definitely a pick influenced by Arthur Smith, right? So there's that. But his first overall picks are good. But the rest of his drafts, they be just a little shaky, right? Like, all right, you get, your Tyler Algiers. Ebiketie might be working out. But aside from that, like, who's a guy he drafted after the first pick that's a baller? Can you name any?
None really.
None really.
Okay, just roster players.
All right, Matthew Bergeron, he might be, decent. But outside of that, I'm like, he kind of mid. So he hits on his early picks, which it's the one that's the easiest to hit on, admittedly, but it's also the most important to hit on. And it's believe it or not, there's teams out there that miss on multiple first rounders. So and some of them they're able to cover it up because they make up with it with later round picks, but they blow their first one. So at least he does that. The other thing too is like you said, he front loads his contracts. So the contracts, you're able to get the fuck out of them. You're not in that Thomas Dimitrov purgatory where you don't kept backloading deals or restructuring deals with all the money getting pushed to the bank, and then at some point it catch up to you. At some point you're like, damn, we really want to sign a pass rusher, but the way the money locked up for the next 4 or 5 years, we can't do that. So I'll give him that. He usually doesn't. He very, very, very rarely hands out a 5-year deal. Most deals are 3 to 4 years. Most of them have most of the loaded money to the front of the deal, front loaded, and then if it's not working out at the end, you can go ahead cut them for huge cap savings. So I'll give him that as well. But the Judon trade, that was a flop. All right. It was a huge flop. And it was a flop that was compounded by signing Kirk, not because Kirk didn't work out, but because Kirk, he blabbed a little much and we ended up losing a 5th rounder. So now we basically lost 2 draft picks and $100 million for Kirk and Judon.
Not
between those two.
Not
It wasn't good ROI. Now the good thing is you can unfuck that situation. But with the draft picks, I don't know if you can unfuck the money a little bit. That because he already got paid. That time's already come and gone. The missed draft pick has not come and gone yet. We haven't fully braced the impact of that yet. So we done already got to see what we getting for what we paid for. We don't like it, but we still got to wait for the money to come out our check.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That's like. That's why, like, the whole reason you come up with a credit score is because guess what? It's hard to get people to pay for shit when they already got the product and don't like it no more.
Exactly.
They like, damn, I don't want to keep paying on this shit. This shit sucks.
Right?
No, you paid on every credit, bro. You got to keep paying.
Yeah.
So that's how that is with that. But with Terry, man, I don't know, man. Terry, let me pull something up real quick. So with Terry, we were naming most of the main free agent signings. Obviously there's a lot more than this. You're gonna sign like a billion guys that's gonna mostly be practice squad or guys we never see playing. You know what I'm saying? Or guys that have minimal impact. Like James Smith-Williams, he was all right. He got hurt. I'm not gonna make money. Let me make a big deal about a guy making the vet minimum salary unless he's doing great or he's super bad and we keep putting him out there, right? But when you look at the free agent signings, you look at Kirk, Darnell Mooney, Ray McLeod, Justin Simmons, Charlie Werner. If we're being honest, except for Justin Simmons, who came in on a pretty small contract. He hit on most of those. Oh, and the albatross, that was Kirk's contract. But, we already went over that. That's just one of them contracts that, when you look at the logic, because I know everybody want to be mad, but you got to look at the logic. You wanted to try to solidify the quarterback position. You went after the best quarterback available in free agency.
Mm-hmm.
And then you took the best quarterback available to you in the draft. So that's all I'm going to say about that. But everything else from this past year, as far as free agents worked out, as far as trades with Judon and also, and I'm gonna roll in the second trade into the draft section, but with Judon, that didn't work out. Now, as far as the draft this past year, we had Penix, Rukeroro, Braylon Trice, I feel like I'm skipping somebody. J.D. Bertrand, Brandon Dorlus, J.D. Bertrand, Jace McClellan, and Casey Washington. And Zion Logue. Zion Logue's already out with the team. He got pilfered from the practice squad by the Bills. I don't know if he's still there. Maybe he'll come back. We'll see how that goes. Penix, still yet to see. I mean, honestly, just so y'all know, we'll never give a draft grade on a player or players or any draft group that has one season. I'm like, you don't fucking know what these players are gonna be. So let's relax. But maybe we'll go back and do draft grades for the 2021 group. That way, you know, that's the Kyle Pitts draft. We can look back on that draft because half those guys not even on the team anymore. But you know, as far as what we saw so far, though, Penix gives us a lot of hope. He's definitely the I forget the turn of phrase I was gonna say, but he the shiny a piece of this class. Then you got Rook, who we did trade up for. Admittedly, to trade up for Rook, play him as little as he did, and see who could have been available or probably would have been available or might have been available. You never know. Might have been available had you stayed pat, because we gave up a third rounder for that. So that was a pretty steep price to move up to barely play a guy. I'll admit that I don't think that was the best use of resources. Even like unless Rook becomes like a non first round level of play, like if he comes like a Pro Bowl or All Pro something like that, you know that you might have overpaid for that. You know that's a ding against Terry in my book, right? But Rook did show some potential this year. Rook didn't look like a bozo. You know he went out there, he flashed on some plays. And you know, a lot more is yet to be written. Same with Braylon Trice. He got hurt. We don't know. JD Bertrand stepped in. He gave us some good reps. And he's a fifth rounder. So, you know, we'll fucking see. Maybe he'll be able to give us a lesser version, but a more consistent version as far as staying healthy of Troy Anderson. We'll see. Right? Brandon Dorlus barely played. We'll see. That's all I got to say about that. Same with Casey Washington. We'll see. So I guess it's time to ask this question. How much more time Terry got to figure this shit out? You think he's surviving this year? And if he does survive this year, how much more time you giving him?
I think if he would have got fired, he'd have got fired already.
I think so too, but I will admit, I mean, shit, is anybody available for hire yet?
The Raiders GM.
Dude, do you want to hire the Raiders GM? Or are you saying the Raiders GM already got hired?
No, he got fired. The Raiders GM got fired. The Titans GM got fired. I don't know their name. I can't think off the top of my head.
I can't either, yeah.
I know they got fired. Funny enough, Thomas Dimitroff had an interview with the Titans.
With the Titans, yeah.
Yeah. So the two GMs got fired. Honestly, I can't really think of anybody at the top of my head who would be a good fit, who would be available. So to be honest, Terry might be the best option we got right now. He's all we got, and he's got one more year, and he's earned the fact that he's got one more year because the Penix thing potentially will work out. And I'm holding off on the belief that I think some of the picks from this last draft are going to work out. I think some of them will.
All right,
Just because they got a little bit more tick, like Rook got some tick this year.
Yeah.
It sucks that Braylon Trice got hurt, but I know he would have got some tick this year. Hell, we might not have signed Matthew Judon if Braylon Trice didn't get hurt.
Yep.
So I'm optimistic that Braylon Trice will be like a new free agent signing. It'd be good to have him next year. I think Rook will improve. I think JD Bertrand will play well. I'm optimistic on some of those pieces. Now, granted, we got 4 picks, and I know we're going to talk about this later on in the offseason preview, but like we got 4 picks coming up in this draft. That's because of trading for Judon. We lost a pick because we traded for Van Jefferson last year, and I don't even know if he's in the NFL anymore.
He is. I think he's with the Steelers.
And then
Arthur Smith got to hang on to them last.
Yeah, so lost a pick with Van Jefferson, lost a pick with Judon, lost a pick through tampering. We got 4 picks this upcoming draft. So Terry's gonna have to make a mountain out of a molehill. He's gonna have to turn chicken salad he's gonna have to take chicken shit, turn it to chicken salad. It's gonna take a lot from Terry, man. And I think he can do it because I like what he said. Some people, and I mentioned at the beginning of the pod, some people aren't gonna like it, but hey, I highly doubt Kirk Cousins is our backup quarterback next year. Highly doubt that. That was bait to get somebody to pay for him. Either they want us to eat the money and they give us picks, or maybe we can package some kind of deal or whatever, but I'm anticipating Kirk not being on our team next year. Even that, I just am. But as far as Terry goes, I think he got one more year. If we don't make the playoffs next year, he's out. Hell, Raheem might be out too.
You know, it's funny you said you hit the nail right on the head. So I was thinking to myself, maybe we do need to cut bait with Terry because if Raheem have a losing season, he out. Might as well give the next GM a head start. I'm like, hey, go ahead, cut Terry, get your new GM in, let him see what he got to work with, and if it ain't working out with Raheem, go ahead, give Raheem his pink slip, and now you can be in for the process of picking the next coach.
Mm-hmm.
And because I think that's another thing our organization is missing a little bit. Like it's pretty rare that the GM is in the process of picking the next coach with us. Like I know I think to replace Mike Smith, he put a hiring firm up or something like that. I can't remember how they did it with all of the processes, but I know usually if the GM walking, the coach walking, right? But we had Dimitrov as a GM when Dan Quinn was hired, right? And then we had Terry as the GM when Raheem was hired. But like, you know, I know that actually is contradictory to what I just said. But I'm saying I don't know. Like, but see, the thing is, Terry came in with Arthur Smith, and then they hired him. I just wanted somebody who can come in and get a chance to like kind of know what the situation is with regards to, check this guy out for a year. If it don't work, try the next one. You know what I'm saying? Like go in knowing that his job ain't on the line with the coaches. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like they get the GM start getting stupid when they think they about to get fired.
Yeah, they do.
You know what I'm saying? They about to start burning all the resources because they got to do everything they can to save their job.
Yeah,
but
and I don't want the GM to be in that kind of position because that just puts the team back.
Yeah, it put the team back, but also like they don't understand the fallacy in it a little bit, right? So it's smart to try to do everything you can to fix it, but like the problem is you're trying to scramble to fix it, but you didn't fuck this up overnight, right? You spent all that time before fucking it up to this point now, and now you're trying to do everything to save a job. No, bro, you done messed up now. You know, it don't make sense. And my thing is, you know, even when Terry came, Terry was trying to unfuck the cap situation we was in. So like he got 2 years to undo that, and then. You know, and honestly, we could have messed around. And Arthur Smith could have still been here if them last couple of games would have went better. You know, we got our teeth kicked in both of those games, so then they had to get rid of him. But, you know, this like really the last couple of years has been more so the real Terry draft. I just want, if we bring in a new GM, for him to have an actual clean slate, right? Like, you know, it's some dead cap here, but it's not. We really don't have anything as far as dead cap on the books for 2026.
Yeah.
Right. So, and then, you know, you might have your quarterback in place. You might have players in place. So, like, if you got a new GM coming in, you know, he'd have a good situation. Right. So there's that. But if we keep him, ultimately decide to keep him, this is the last one for me, man. And
No,
I need to see him. And look, like I said, I wouldn't bat an eye if he got let go this year. I'd be fine with that. I'm just not on board. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm all right if we keep him. I can see why we keeping him or how we keeping him. But excuse me, at the same time, I'm not gonna like bat an eye if he get fired. I'm gonna be like,
me either.
hey, shit. He had 4 years. I mean, he had 2 real years of actual. All right, we didn't undid what the last year did, and now it's my time. But like, bruh, the old GM ain't had shit to do with how you draft.
I'm trying to tell you, man.
You know what I'm saying? The old GM ain't had shit to do with the contract, with you trading for Judon, which, to be fair, at the time, it seemed like an okay move. It seemed like a good move. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
And that's the hard part about all of this. It's if you look at what they did at the time for a lot of these decisions, it makes sense. But this isn't the do what makes sense at the time league. This is a results-oriented league.
Mm-hmm.
And the results ain't been good. So like Terry, hey brother, I hope you renting. I hope you renting. I hope you didn't buy a home. Cause might be breaking the lease if you don't sort this shit out.
No, I agree.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, look, it's been an hour and a half. Didn't know we was gonna get all this in. Like I said, we might split it. We might not. We'll see. We'll see. Anything else you want to add, Cam? About anything else? Any sprinkles you want to put on this cake?
All in all, there were a lot of things I liked from this season. Some ups, some downs. Hey, silver lining is, hey, we may have found our guy. We may have paid a lot of money and going a roundabout way about it. But hey, we may have found our guy. So I'm happy about that. That fact alone is the reason why I'm not like real salty about this.
Yeah, it's the one thing.
Because like I said before, and I've said it again, and I'll say it 1,000 times, the worst place you can be as a franchise is what?
QB purgatory, and we have absolutely been there. If not for Michael Penix at the tail end of this year, this might have been at least our 4th straight year in QB purgatory.
Just think about this. Right now, the current longest playoff drought streak is held by the New York Jets at 13 years. We are second with 7.
Yep.
I'm thinking this guy can change that. Granted,
Number 9.
I have more questions about our upper management and our regime. But aside from that, I like the talent on our team. Love the talent on our offense. Defense needs to improve. We got 4 draft picks. I don't know how we're gonna do it, but hey, I think it can be done. But I'm cautiously optimistic, man. I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm just praying that we don't fuck the boy up, that we put him in the right position to succeed.
All right, fair enough. That's actually like a genuine fear of mine. Like
Yeah.
I'm so scared about having a young quarterback because I'm scared that we're gonna be incompetent and fuck it up. I'm like scared. What if we end up like with another Andrew Luck situation where they had like a guy who, if you put the right cast around him, he could have been the best quarterback in the league. He had everything you needed, but the man gave you everything he had, and you took it and poo-pooed on it, and now he retired. And he looked like shit. No disrespect, Andrew Luck, but you look way fucking older than you should. Like the guy looks older than Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah, that's
and I'm probably from the stress of playing behind that fucking old line in Indy they put him in. So Falcons, look, maybe I'll put y'all jersey back up. You know, at some point it's time to move on. And unfortunately, with how the Falcons been lately, in order for me to hang that jersey up, I can't let them earn their way on the wall. They have to earn their way off of it. Because if I let them earn their way on the wall, it'll just never get up there. I gotta hang the jersey up first, and then let them play their way off the wall.
No, that's fact. That's fact.
Yeah, man. All right. Well, look, guys, we appreciate y'all coming with us as we reviewed this previous season. It was a lot to review. I'm sure you were there. You all remembered seeing what the Falcons gave us to look over. So that be what that be. Yeah. But thank you so much for hanging out with us and joining us on the Silver Lining Podcast. It was fantastic having you today, as always. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, hit the little bell when you want to know some real niggas uploading. Peace.